Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today by supporting the Going In Raw Patreon. You can enjoy access to the live taping of the show, exclusive merchandise, and patron-only episodes, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.
This is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw. That sounds terrible.
What's up? This is the most must-see WWE superstar of all time and his lovely, gorgeous wife,
Marie.
and you are going in SmackDown Live. Who needs Raw?
What's up? It's your girl Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you are watching Going In Raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. And you are tuned in to Going In Raw right now. How you doing?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve Larson. Also available wherever podcasts are available, including iTunes. Larson, I checked earlier today, we're at number 79.
Cool.
In the sports and recreation category
Very
of iTunes. And that's all thanks to you guys out there hitting that download button, the subscribe button. I got makeup on here now.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
And leaving ratings, and I like the reviews. I like to wake up and read reviews.
Yeah, those are always
on our
fun
show because you guys are always so positive about the show, and it's very nice. We haven't reached a point where people are like, like McMahon, they're women. So we want to say thank you, even if you guys are watching here on the YouTubes. If you want a way to support the show that isn't financially based, we're gonna get that in a second. That is just like, hey, you know what? I really like this show. I want to help these guys out. Then hop on your little smartphone here, and then get a podcast app. Get our iTunes. I don't know the other podcast apps. I mean, I know what they are: Podbean, Stitcher, stuff like that. But I always look at the iTunes Sports and Rec category. So get iTunes. Hit the subscribe button, the download button, leave a rating or a review or a star rating. And that helps us.
Yeah.
That zooms our podcast up there. The highest we've ever been is 43.
That's pretty good.
Which is crazy. That's
really
insane given all the talent out there these days.
Yeah.
We also want to give a special shout out to our patrons out there, a bunch of which are watching right now.
How many do we have right now?
29 good patrons watching the show.
Hello, everybody.
Live right now. I want to say thank you very much for that. And I'm just going to run down these names. I do this every single week on our Tuesday show. They kick in money. We appreciate it.
Yes, very much
and
so.
And so the least we can do is say their name, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say his name again. It was last Tuesday before the show. I already said it last time. I'm going to say it again. Alfredo Saldivar. I like it because it sounds kind of like a good pasta meal that you might have.
I think you've said that before, yes.
I'll have some of the Alfredo Saldivar.
Sounds like I've heard that joke before.
Alex Foster, Thomas Paisano, Liam, Kerry Dodson, Nick Castillo, Matt Yerrigan, Mark Curson, James Boyes, Rex Robinson. Oh, this is the first time watching the show today.
Oh.
Thank you, Rex.
Welcome, Rex Robinson.
Welcome. Look at Comcast calling me right now to pay my Comcast bill. I thought I paid it doubly in advance 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Oh.
I did not.
Uh-oh.
So after the show, maybe I'll do this. The live broadcast might cut out because I didn't pay the bill.
That's a good point.
All these gimmicks that come to the house. John Herkov, Nathan Broomfield. He's from England. N7 Reven, Anthony Kniper, Joshua Gardner, Ty Perez kicked in buco money.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ty. That's fantastic. Man. Woo, boy. Corey Brooks, Pentagram Peter Pan. That's a hell of a name right there. That's a good Creator Wrestler name. Pentagram Peter Pan. I like this name. Infinite Dropkicks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Paul Eilert, Sam Wines, Griff McAaron. Oh, we've had Griff before. Sebastian, Jason Ibanez, Infamous Musso, Ryan Kearney, Daniel King, all sorts of great names. Alexander Graham.
We got a lot of new supporters this week.
Alexander Graham. I want to say Bell.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Bell. It's just Alexander Graham. If your last name was Graham, would you consider naming your kid Alexander?
I don't know.
Because you just want to say Bell, but you can't. I would because of my shoot last name.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I should have done that. Huh?
Yeah.
I told my wife, hey, can we name our kid Alexander Graham?
Yeah, that'd been funny.
All you guys know my shoot last name out there might know what I'm talking about. Daniel Montiero, and this next one just 20 minutes ago. Somebody named Savage.
I saw that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Without you guys, we wouldn't have all this great equipment that we barely know how to operate.
Yeah.
The live version of the show just got to watch us have to redo.
Well, yeah, there was
there was some piece of shit on our teleprompter.
Yeah, and then there was 10 minutes of us trying to ascertain how to work the camera that we've had for months now.
Couldn't figure it out. Anyways, we should talk about Raw, man.
Yeah, we should.
Raw was
I feel like we've been recording for a half hour already. We haven't talked about any wrestling yet.
It was actually a fairly entertaining show.
It was.
So I'm happy to talk about it. And it opened with dun 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 Goldberg.
Yeah, he came out to many Goldberg chants.
We should mention this too. Did you actually watch the entire show?
I did.
Live as it happened?
Not quite live as it happened.
Yeah.
I was about 20 minutes behind, I think.
Okay, because you get the West Coast feed, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you're already in from the night of Halloween activities.
Mm-hmm.
I was not. We get the East Coast feed, and I watched the Hulu version this morning, but it's in the morning, and there's like a million things going on in the morning.
But also the Hulu version is truncated.
Correct. So I also got on WWE's YouTube, and I got on their Twitter feed last night. So
you kind of pieced together all
stitch work.
3 hours of Raw.
Exactly. In like 30 second to 5 minute chunks.
Wow.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And now is the time in the comments where they say, oh, these guys are reviewing a show they haven't even seen.
I watched it all.
It's I know one of it.
So long as
between
one of
the
us,
two of us,
yes.
somebody's seen it at least once.
Yeah, I think so long as one of us has seen the entire show, we can have a conversation about it.
So Goldberg came out. He was almost immediately interrupted by Paul Heyman.
That was a Joey Styles voice.
I know. Whenever I try to do Paul Heyman, it ends up being Joey Styles. And he says, Brock Lesnar wants to see you now.
Again,
no, that's Joey Styles. Okay. And then they hit Brock Lesnar's music. The crowd goes crazy. Goldberg looks horny as hell. He looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah, he takes his coat off.
He takes his underwears off.
I didn't see that part. Was that a WWE.com exclusive?
It was. Exactly. Yeah. And no, he didn't really take his underwear off. And then no Brock. Brock did not come out.
No.
But
Heyman was just teasing us all.
He was like fooling us all. Like we know Heyman, we all read the dirt sheets. We know who's going to be where and what week.
Yeah, WWE always announces like a week in advance if Lesnar's going to be on TV or not.
I
don't think they've ever left a Lesnar appearance as a surprise.
They want these ratings, man. They're not just going to. No surprises happens anymore, Paul.
No.
Not going to happen. Not until Raw is the exclusive domain of the network, which is probably 3 years away from happening.
So anyways.
Yeah. Rusev does come out, though.
Yeah, and that was great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we called it. But this is the thing. We want Rusev Goldberg at WrestleMania. If that ends up happening, then we're like kings of podcast.
There's a couple things last night. A lot of people say, oh, there must be someone in WWE Creative that listens to the show. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple instances last night. It was like, maybe.
I know, right?
Because first Rusev comes out.
I know.
I can't remember what the other one was, though.
What else happened? There was something else that we called. Shit, I forget what it was, but you're right. Somebody called it Jericho. I don't know. But anyways, enough tapping ourselves on the back. Yeah, Rusev comes out and basically talks some shit to Goldberg.
Correct.
And then Goldberg, basically lays into Rusev. Apparently there was some sort of slip, which was then cut from existence.
Yeah, I gather that somebody or some people on internet or Twitter kind of was giving Goldberg some shit about
the business,
slipping. He fell to a knee.
Yeah.
While he was going at it with Rusev.
Yeah.
It was really brief. It's not like he fell on his ass or anything. It was embarrassing. He just slipped, fell to a knee.
Right.
But it looked like in the heat of battle, it was just part of that. So anyways, he went on Twitter and said it was ring rust. And he was on Russillo and Cannell this morning on ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be, like it upset him.
Oh, yeah.
That he fell in the ring.
I think it's like the most motivated Goldberg has ever been.
Pretty much.
It's pretty interesting because he even admits that back when he was when they brought him over to the WWE, he viewed it strictly as a business move. He's like, you know what? I know what I'm worth, and that they say that's one of the problems with with Vince trying to retain his services, because Vince wanted to keep him around.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to, like Vince, he just didn't want to pay what Goldberg felt he was worth.
Yeah.
And they say that Vince usually is able to sort of capitalize or take advantage of the fact that for most people in the business, it's a passion. You don't get your ass beat on a nightly basis, 250 nights a year.
Yeah.
Just because,
There's probably a lot less painful ways to make a decent paycheck.
Right, exactly, yeah. And so, but with Goldberg, he was like, no, I just want money. I want a lot of it. I know I'm worth a lot of it. You're going to, if you want me to stick around. And then he didn't, because Vince was like, I want to pay you $100 a night. 100 whole dollars a night. And Goldberg's like, what the hell? So, he split up. Anyways, Goldberg, to get, I just took the scenic route to get to my point.
Yeah.
Goldberg really seems motivated now
He
because he wants to do it in front of his kids. He wants to do it in front of his wife. Wrestle, that is. And I think that's great. I think that's why his promos for the last 2 weeks have been grade A.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, he's 49 years old.
Yeah, and again, on Russillo and Cannell, he talked about the fact that he's 49, hasn't wrestled in 12 years.
Yeah.
And as a wrestler who is known for his power and explosiveness, it's basically unheard of for someone with that style to be out of the ring that long and to come back and compete at a similar level.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he seemed somewhat unsure. He seemed confident, but not totally confident that he'd be able to do what he used to do. And last night, he moved well.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I mean, he got Rusev up for a jackhammer.
Right.
His spear on Heyman didn't look smooth, but also he had to walk over Rusev.
He had to launch over Rusev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he didn't want to spear Heyman with his full force.
And on top of that, it's not, part of the spear, you have to know how to take it. You have to know how to sell it.
And also you need a running start. And I think Goldberg had about 2 steps before he had to lunge over Rusev.
I was actually kind of impressed with that spear because, there's a lot of moving pieces there. And one of the pieces that wasn't moving was Paul Heyman because he's a big dude. He's not a wrestler. He doesn't take bumps very often. And so, no, I love that move. And I was, and I don't know. Yeah, you're going to slip up a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't get why people were giving him static about that.
I don't know. People always like to jump on shit.
I know.
But
yeah, listening to the interview today on Russillo and Cannell with Goldberg, he seems very motivated.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that's great. That's
very
awesome.
motivated.
Yeah, people were cheering the shit out of him last night too. When he's there, people are going to cheer him.
Yeah,
and not in Minnesota.
It would have been interesting to see how that segment last week would have played out if Goldberg had been there.
I know. I don't know. They from what I hear, the Minnesota peeps love their own, and so it wouldn't surprise me if they turned on him, even if it was just him and not Paul.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
It'd be interesting to see how the crowd reacts, and say pretty much anywhere else in the country that's not either Lesnar or Goldberg's hometowns.
Well, I think
they're in the ring together.
I think the real interesting thing is going to be, I think they'll react the way that WWE by and large wants them to react. I think if Lesnar does something that's extra cool, they'll probably start turning for him, and if Goldberg does something that's actually, how they'll.
Yeah.
I think with those two, it'll be an easily swayed crowd, and so I'm hoping that Lesnar, for all the shit that I might talk about how they're currently booking him, he knows how to play heel,
Yeah.
And part of it, honestly, I think is there's an aspect of Lesnar that pisses me off, but is just good healing. You know what I mean? It's just, it's like, hey, I'm bleeding this guy because I can and I'm a heel. And these kind of storylines, I think that it devalues the other wrestlers see him do.
I agree.
And that's kind of what bugs me more than him smiling and suplexing.
I'd say that's
people.
less him and how he's booked, but also, you look at the Ambrose match where, based on what Ambrose said, his attitude wasn't exactly the best.
That sort of, yeah. That kind
well,
of
I mean,
thing, yeah.
they could have easily worked out a situation where that match where Brock looks strong, Dean looks somewhat strong, while protecting Lesnar's mystique.
Yeah, my main problem with that was that I think when Dean was talking about that, I think you're right. I think it wasn't even the fact that Dean wanted to look strong or anything. It was he wanted to do something that was interesting, that was creative, that brought something, and that
told
match
the story.
It was such a boring match.
Yeah,
it was such a boring lead up, and you could tell that Dean was trying to do something with it, and they just weren't complying.
Lesnar didn't seem like he cared at all.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's kind of annoying. But I think I think the really interesting thing is going to be in Toronto.
Yeah.
Because now that Lesnar, Okay, so I have no idea. I know that he now considers himself, because he resides in Canada. Is he in Toronto? Do we know?
No, he's in Saskatchewan.
And I have no frame of reference.
That is west of Ontario, I believe.
I know Canada is a massive place.
Yeah.
Is there any way that crowd could consider him a hometown guy just because he now lives in the vast area that is Canada?
I was curious one evening, so I was where he had Lesnar, that is his huge farm.
Okay.
In Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And so I looked up on his Wikipedia page. So assuming this is accurate, he lives in a very small town just north of the U.S.-Canada border. Just north of Minnesota, I want to say.
Okay. Oh, okay. And Toronto is back east. Yeah, that's right. And then Vancouver's all the way to the west. It's like just above Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
North of Seattle. Vancouver doesn't hover above Seattle.
No, not literally, I guess.
Doesn't. It's not a hovering city. Just making sure on that one. So yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting to see, because they said, well, he's in Canada now, so Toronto's going to cheer him. Really? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what their mindset of what they think.
I think people that would cheer for Brock Lesnar would cheer for him regardless of
if
where
you
his
and
home was.
If you and I lived in Spain,
and
we go to a wrestling show and there's a fellow Americano wrestler, we'd probably cheer for him just on the basis that he's American. It's like, I mean, you and I might not, but your average wrestling fan would probably be like, hey, cool, it's one of me, it's a guy like me.
Yeah.
So I could see that, because you're in such a foreign land. But Canada, it's just Canada, It's like you turn on the TV, see a Canadian, it's like, oh, it's like one of us.
Another thing to consider too is I don't know if Toronto is known as kind of a smart mark.
That's a big thing too.
City too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't recall didn't they have?
Oh yeah, I mean that's a good point. Alex C here in the live chat makes a good point. Goldberg did end Bret Hart's career.
That's true.
so that might actually play a bigger factor into it versus where Brock Lesnar happens to keep his land.
Good point.
Yeah, good point. Anyways, so I thought it was an effective bit. I thought it was way more effective than Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar in Minnesota last week.
Where they pulled the plug on a segment because it went so horribly wrong.
Paul Heyman even made fun of himself on that one.
I know.
So that was good. But yeah, I don't know. It's it'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts. But if they keep on giving it, especially if Goldberg keeps on giving it this level of effort, I think I'll be satisfied with it. I'm going to watch the match and I'll be satisfied, because I think he's really giving it a damn.
This is something we should do week by week leading up to Survivor Series.
Okay.
Based on what we've seen of Goldberg, do you think this is his one last match, or he'll do something more after Survivor Series? He did an interview where he said that right now it's just one match.
Yeah.
But if I remember the exact, he left it open ended.
Yeah.
It seemed like that he would maybe do more.
Yeah. Based on this week, I'd say that this is a 3-match thing, at least a 2-match thing. Probably not the Rumble, but I'd say Survivor Series, Mania, maybe SummerSlam. If he has a blast at Mania,
well, let's see if he has a good time at Survivor Series first.
I know. I'm looking ahead, though. I think a 2-match. I think Mania is almost guaranteed, especially if he gets in the Hall of Fame. Because now there's so much a buzz about that.
Usually, if you get inducted into the Hall of Fame, is after your in-ring career is
pretty
much over.
I know.
So if he wrestles at Mania, he'll probably have to wait till if tradition holds, he'll have to wait till 2018 for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know. What is it, WWE? I don't give a shit about that. There was another name that was bandied about the other day for Hall of Fame. I forget what it was, and it was a pretty good one. I forget what it was. Anyways,
like
Vader should headline the freaking class. Spike Johnson should headline the class. I was watching. Boy, I got some stuff to tell you off camera about WCCW circa 1987. Spike Johnson, he was just a big dude. I tried to look him up, couldn't find shit about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, he's probably dead. So yeah, I think right now I'm looking at 2 matches, but I think he's having a good time. I think he's training, and I think we'll see. Maybe
he was saying that his knees were sore just from what he did last night.
All right, maybe Survivor Series is it. We also had a match between Luke Doc Gallows and Enzo Amore.
Yeah, it was a Halloween trick or street fight.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Was it? I didn't see this one.
Yeah, they had the entire ring surrounded with pumpkins.
Okay.
And then
you said they made quite the mess afterwards.
They did. They had tables at ringside.
Yeah.
They had like a cauldron with apples.
Yeah.
So you can bob for them. They had some kendo sticks. They had like a candy dish.
Yeah.
But they had tables on the opposite side of the ring, and yeah, they made a mess because there's a lot of throwing of pumpkins, a lot. And the finish saw a huge pumpkin go over Gallows' head, and then Enzo did his top rope DDT thing. He completely missed it. You can't get your arm around someone's neck when they got a huge pumpkin on top of it.
It seems like it'd be difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, but Enzo picked up the win. There was a fun spot where Enzo somehow got a pumpkin pie with whipped cream on it and hit it and put it in the face of Anderson.
Okay.
And then Cass did his boot and put Anderson through a table.
All right. I don't like any of this, man. I'll be honest with you. I'll put it this way. If this was the Shining Stars versus Enzo and Cass, I'd be totally into it. That sounds perfect. For the Shining Stars, one of them Shining Stars to have, Hunakor.
Because you're worried about the club looking weak. Is that what you're worried about?
It's not even a matter of looking weak. There is that. Goofy, cheesy, corny. Just this seems beneath them.
I understand
if they're trying to accomplish this certain thing, which I think they're trying to accomplish.
There was this one part.
I don't mean it to be a buzzkill. It sounds fun, and I'll probably go back and watch it.
There's this one part where Gallows had pumpkins. Was just tossing.
Gallows' head looks like a pumpkin.
Tossing him at Enzo. He's on the ground, and he got a handful of pumpkin seeds out of one, just throws it in Enzo's face and gets all in his hair. And afterwards, Enzo's trying to pick a pumpkin seed out of his ear.
I think that's great.
It's fun.
I think it's fun.
But I don't disagree with you, though.
It's the club.
I know.
It's the freaking club, man. Like, I don't know.
They're professionals, though.
Yeah. No, I know, which is why, they're not going to say no to this.
And they made the best of the situation.
That's fine. That's fine. Where does the club go after Enzo and Cass? This isn't going to keep going, is it?
It kind of seems that way.
Well, Survivor, we're hardcore on the road to Survivor Series right now. It's
yeah,
only,
and I suspect
3 weeks away.
I suspect they'll both be on Team Raw for the tag team match.
Oh, they'd have to be.
Because it'll be the New Day. They announced last night.
Enzo, Cass, and Club.
They were the captains.
Yes, correct.
So Enzo and Cass will be on it.
Yes.
The club will be on it.
Yeah.
That's 3 teams.
I would think the Golden Truth.
What about Sheamus and Cesaro?
Oh, yeah.
That's 5.
So, wait, is it Golden Truth or is it Shining Stars? Golden Truth seems to be more over.
Yeah, I guess so.
People give more of a shit about them.
Yeah.
I would think them, unless we're leaving out somebody completely obvious, which I don't think we are. Are we? I don't think so.
During the New Day's promo last night, they were shooting on some of the SmackDown tag teams.
Oh, yeah.
But they only had nice things to say about American Alpha. In fact, they said... Sorry.
I'm throwing up everywhere.
Del Taco's not treating me nicely right now.
Dude, it's a lose-lose with you, I swear to God. We either do lunch before the podcast, in which you're throwing up everywhere.
Or we do it after the podcast
and you're just starving. There's never a middle ground with you.
No. Xavier Woods said, I think literally, I can't think of anything not nice to say about American Alpha. They're great.
Well, yeah, you can't say anything bad about American Alpha. You can say something bad about how they've been buried by Heath Slater.
Yeah.
But that's not their fault.
Nope.
Let's see here. Okay, so we had that. We had Brian Kendrick versus... Okay, so in a rematch from the Cruiserweight Division title fight.
At Hell in a Cell.
At Hell in a Cell, where Brian Kendrick, Spanky himself, picked up that title. They had a rematch where TJ Perkins... won via countout.
Did you watch this match?
I watched the very end when they were outside and he had him in his submission.
Did you see?
So I watched a little bit. I watched the Hurricanrana off the thing.
TJ Perkins did not land comfortably.
Yeah, I know.
That was bad.
I did see that. Yeah,
that was rough.
Man, did you watch that? We were gonna do WrestleMania 25 or the book of the match.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I forgot about that Undertaker spot where he launches over and
the
cameraman was supposed to catch him, and Michaels tried to get him in the thing. You know who that cameraman was? Snuka's son, and he was Deuce out of Deuce and Domino.
Yeah.
So it was him, and that basically got him fired.
Wow.
Yeah, because that spot was nasty.
Yeah, it was. It could have been really bad.
I know. Anyways, yeah, T.J. Perkins lost to Brian Kendrick. Who's next in line?
Well, they'll have another match because based on the finish where Kendrick
Dusty,
just kind of let himself get counted out, so he didn't lose the belt, and then Perkins put him in the knee bar.
I love Brian Kendrick, man. His character is his angle, his thing is so unique.
Let me ask you this:
What?
Last night, T.J. Perkins showed a little bit more intensity because he's chasing the title instead of carrying it.
It's Sully, dude. It's Sully. Just like I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
I see, because you know why, dude? Because I see Rich Swann, even Lindsay Dorado, who's under a freaking mask, and Cedric Alexander as all faces. Cedric is going to be huge. I think he's coming out of that. He's busting out of that cruiserweight division.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes.
If. Because right now, I think, unless I'm wrong, I think Cedric does get the biggest pops. I mean, TJ maybe because he was champion and he's known solo, like people know him off the bat. But Cedric, whenever he shows up, I hear the crowd start going. People know what Cedric Alexander can do.
Yes.
They are so foolish. Now, he might be the kind of case where he's young enough where he can leave after 2 years of being in the cruiserweight division. He can leave and then come back after 3 years as So
he'd be about 32?
If he was 32 to 34, something like that. He can come back and be huge then, like go to Japan or go to wherever. He can do that. So it might be 5, 6, 7 years before we see Cedric Alexander. But if he stays healthy and he keeps up what he's doing, he could be huge in the WWE, whether or not that's going to be in this initial run. Because look, we see Brian Kendrick, and he was last with the company, I think, in 2009.
Yeah.
And now, he's obviously, but he's a huge part of the cruiserweight division. He's like essentially their heel anchor. And I could see the same thing for Cedric Alexander. I hope not. I hope he grows into the WWE along with it.
Yeah. I hope in 5 years he's had the Universal Championship.
But along with that, they need to start letting these guys showcase what they can do.
They need that, and they need to start developing B storylines.
Yeah.
Because every week we have more or less these same 6 to 8 guys in a multi-man tag match.
I know.
Develop some stories with these guys and have more singles matches.
How long is it going to be until you think they get rid of those purple ropes?
I hope soon.
I know, me too. Because it in terms of presentation, it just takes you out of it.
Yep.
And they don't feel part of the show. They feel like a sideshow.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I know. Keep the same. Keep the ring the same. Mm-hmm. Let them start doing what they were doing in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
Because it worked so well and people connected to that.
I know. People want to be. That's how it should be. I mean, dude, you remember like when we were doing research for the top 10 some matches. What was the matches? I don't forget. But I had to watch the Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Halloween Havoc 97.
Yeah.
And how fast Mysterio was. And that basically, say what you will about Bischoff, but he brought those guys in so that people can be marveled by their style.
Yes.
And that's why the Cruiserweight division in WCW was so great.
And that's why the Cruiserweight Classic works so well.
Yes, exactly. Triple H brings these guys in so they can do their thing, and now it just doesn't translate because we don't know this for sure, but it sure seems like it. They're working a WWE a slower style. So, I don't know. These guys are cruiserweights. Let them fly. Let them do what they're going to do. Not just the occasional...
Let them do long chain wrestling sequences.
Yeah, exactly. There's a place for that in the industry.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. So Foley was backstage. So now, I mean, we really are on this sort of road to Survivor Series, which I love, dude, because was last year the Dolph? No, the Authority Dolph thing? That was 2 years ago. What was last year Survivor Series? Was there anything interesting about Survivor Series 2015? Survivor Series.
Trying to think. That was right after... Oh, yeah. It was the championship tournament. The finals were Reigns against Ambrose because that was right after Rollins got hurt.
Okay. Oh, all right. So by necessity, that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's good. I really like that. I mean, that's one thing about the brand split is that, because people were talking about bragging rights a lot. That Survivor Series is now turning into sort of the bragging rights thing.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Yeah,
so
I do too.
I hope they do announce some sort of stakes
Yes.
for this. We got some good ideas in our comments, too, from a couple people about like what different stakes could be. We've had that every week for a couple weeks.
I know.
And it's great. We love those ideas. But I think that they have made a really good point about hyping that up. I think they've done a really good job promoting it as a big deal. And, we have to show SmackDown that we're better. And having Charlotte this week address people directly. The New Day did the same thing with the tag belts.
Yeah.
Or the tag teams over on SmackDown.
And I suspect once the Raw and SmackDown men's singles teams are solidified, we're going to start. Well, even on Raw Talk on Sunday,
right?
Owens called out AJ Styles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I suspect in the coming weeks, we'll see a lot more of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if they would actually have, like some SmackDown competitors show up on Raw and vice versa.
It'd be pretty cool at this point. It'd be like we said this from the get-go. They needed to keep everything separate as much as they could, and it's even in sort of my mind, it's very quickly getting to the point where I think it was back in the day. Because back in the day, you look at my only problem still is just I wish those, and it's such a small thing, and I know we've harped on the belts before, and we've said we're going to stop doing that, but the fact that the belts are all branded like the same way, they're all that to me is like a little thing that kind of bugs. But beyond that, I think that the two brands are really doing a great job staking their own territory.
Yes.
They
have each show has a different voice, and it's obvious.
SmackDown still does kind of feel it's the more fun show, but it still does kind of feel like it's a bare bones show.
Yeah.
So they do need some more. And that's why I say, man, could you imagine if they had Rollins go over there, if they had Reigns go over there? It would feel so big. You would almost get that kind of kick of, the Monday Night Wars when somebody else defects,
I think
or even during the brand,
when they had Cena
initial brand split
on SmackDown, that was the reasoning.
Right.
But he's on so rarely these days.
I know.
That you can't count on that star presence week in and week out.
I know, exactly.
And AJ is doing a fantastic job.
Oh, yeah.
Carrying that show.
Yeah. But it does feel really empty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or it feels small.
It feels small, yeah, exactly. And part of it is
part
of it's the presentation, and part of it's the thing. And I want it to feel big. And honestly, part of it, I think, I don't know if I mentioned this on camera or off camera, but part of it is just the fact that it's blue lighting everywhere.
Yeah,
it's
you
the
mentioned
blue
that
show
last week, I think.
And to me, maybe because I'm old and I'm not as adaptable as maybe other people are, but it still feels like blue equals B show.
Because of TNA, maybe.
Because of SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
SmackDown's always felt,
back in the day when...
Well, yeah, I know. Back in the day.
It was on par, if not surpassing Raw
but
every
for the
week.
past 6, 7, 8 years,
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a long time to get used to it. Brian Foley backstage. Braun Strowman says, Foley, I've been asking you for competition.
He's Ryback now?
He kind of sounds like Ryback, yeah. Foley, you couldn't. Fuck, now I'm stuck.
Anyways, he wants stiffer competition.
He wanted to be in the...
And he wanted to be on the Raw Survivor Series team.
He's a team player. I like that about him. And Foley said, well, you know what, big man, he says, you want to threaten me, you want to scare me? I'm scared. I love Foley selling him being scared to Braun Strowman. He says,
but he said, I can't give you what you want.
I can't give you what you want because then that'll set a bad precedent. Everybody's going to be bullying Foley because nobody wants to be a star. And he says, we got a battle royal coming up tonight that you're going to win. I mean, if you do win it, then you're in. And so immediately was like, hey, well, he's going to win that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Braun Strowman took on a bunch of other competitors, including, of course, Sami Zayn and Sheamus and Cesaro were in
Correct.
there. And
Darren Young was in it.
Darren Young was in it. We got to see Darren Young. So that was fun. Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn were the last two.
And there's a great moment where Sami had Braun in a headlock trying to suplex him out of the ring to win.
Right.
And he was so close.
Yeah, so very close. And I love this too because I hope they take the long route with this, and I hope they just have Sami get small victories, not like pinfalls because we know that's not going to happen.
No.
But he's going to get small victories over Braun. He's going to chip away at Braun's mystique, and I like that. I think that'll be good. I think something tells me that this is the kind of feud that's probably off of Vince's radar, I mean, look, we have no idea how the inner mechanics work and the politics work necessarily.
Yeah.
But we can sort of, in the abstract, refer to Vince as like, an impediment to creativity.
It seems like that might be the case at times.
Sometimes that might be the case. And so this might be just off the radar of the people who want to force things to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And so I think hopefully whoever's writing this, whoever's booking this or whatever, has a good solid plan in place for how this can go, and it can be successful for everybody involved and entertaining for us.
Agreed. Let's talk about this Foley's promo he did, talking about Survivor Series. At least that's how they hyped it before it came out. But pretty soon after he started, when he called out Kevin Owens and how he won it, Hell in a Cell, Owens and Jericho come out.
Yeah.
And there was this great segment. This was a really fun segment.
Yeah, it was.
Where, he called them out on winning through nefarious means.
Yes, he said, he yelled at Kevin Owens, said, "You have the talent. You have the talent to have won that entire thing yourself. And
go down as a legend," or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And and instead you took the shortcut. Took the easy way out by having Y2J in that cell with you. And Jericho made reference to the key of Jericho.
Lock it in, man.
Lock it in, man. And Foley was pretty all right with that. But he said, but this is the thing, I need you guys. And then they stopped and he said, "Hold on a second. What did you just say?" He says, "I need you." And then he said, "But I also need the guy."
Yeah.
Roman Reigns.
But even before that, Jericho threatened to put Foley on the list.
Yeah.
And the crowd popped.
Yeah.
And Jericho's like, "No, I'm not going to put Foley on the list because you want me to."
Healing up the list.
Yep.
Healing up the list.
Which is great because the list was getting too over.
Too much list. Need less. The less better.
Yeah. Minimal list.
Minimal list.
So yeah, Reigns comes out.
And people boo him immediately.
Yeah.
But then once he gets aggressive with people, they start cheering him again.
I know.
Whenever he shows signs of they're women.
Yeah.
Then he that's my new sound. That's my new stinger for aggression is Vince saying, "They're women."
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
That's fine.
Anyways,
that all led to a U.S. title match to main event the show between Jericho and Reigns, because Jericho stepped up to Reigns and said, "I could take that belt off you anytime. That's the only belt I have never won in WWE."
I know. I love that too. I love these referencing his past. That's what keeps Jericho legit, is that he doesn't really need to chase anything because he has it all. He's had it all.
But he hasn't had it all. He hasn't had the U.S. title.
Exactly.
I know we talked on the Hell in a Cell show about maybe Jericho Rollins program. This is the other thing that we talked about, and I thought maybe someone at WWE is listening to the show for about months, but at least a couple months. I guess that'd be months. For months, we've been saying, after Rusev, who does Reigns go to next? Jericho.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'm hoping this leads to a Reigns-Jericho feud, because that'd be good.
I think that'd be good for everybody involved. I agree.
Because it seems, based on the finish of the main event, Rollins isn't done with Owens and Jericho. Whether that will lead to Rollins-Jericho or more Owens-Rollins, I don't know. Since the finish of Hell in a Cell wasn't a clean Owens victory, I could see Rollins still wanting to go after Owens and that belt.
Yeah.
But at some point, Triple H has to come into the picture to take Rollins out of the title mix.
Yeah.
You would think.
You think that'll happen? That can't happen before Survivor Series. It's not going to happen on Raw.
It's not going to happen at Survivor Series either. Because imagine if Triple H got involved in the Survivor Series match.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
And then if he screws over Rollins, that's effectively costing his wife's brand a man that could potentially cause him to lose a match.
What's between Survivor? TLC? Is that the...
That's the SmackDown one. Roadblock.
Roadblock.
And then after that's the Rumble.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be the post-Survivor... It might be the post-Survivor Series Raw that Triple H kicks off his shit with Rollins. Unless they wait all the way till the Rumble. I have no idea. And maybe they... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Rumble will be the actual blow-up between Seth and Kevin Owens.
Could be.
Because, Survivor Series is a good sort of... There's
a lot of storyline potentials.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you have Owens, Jericho, Rollins, Reigns, and now Strowman all in the same
next
team.
Week on Raw, are we looking at I was thinking about it. I was like, Shield reunion between even two of the members is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Are we looking at that tag match next week on Raw? That elevates, be a main event. That's a good Raw right there.
Yeah.
If that's the main event next week.
And we'll have all three Shield members in the ring at Survivor Series, most likely.
So it was a decent U.S. title match. Yeah. When Roman had Jericho
Post spear
in
a pinfall attempt. Owens comes in, breaks it up.
Right, and then Rollins comes down to a huge pop,
yeah.
big pop,
yeah,
and sends the heels running away. And then, interesting moment between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. They looked at each other lovingly. Not through just straight up like that. Yeah, they looked at each other wantingly. Horny. Anyway, so that was really, and of course the crowd starts chanting shield. And some guys out there like doing this shit. I'm like, pick one. Yes or shield.
Well, it's from the same era.
Good point. So yeah, that was fun. And then okay, so I thought this should have actually started off the show, to be honest with you. Charlotte. The most buzz, and given your guys' questions, like 58 questions just on the Patreon. Patrons out there get priority questions. But I went through and dug through and found some of the better Twitter questions as well. Also, $20 patrons get to put video questions up on the show. We got 2 of those today.
Correct.
One of them they're both good.
Yes.
They're both good.
But one of them.
Terry.
Hold.
Oh.
Wait.
Barbara Streisand.
Wait.
It's in my head still.
I know, but
it replaced Patrick Clark's Prince-esque theme song. Anyways, Charlotte comes down. I thought, given the
buzz around the main event at Hell in a Cell, yes.
Because we sort of, on our show notes, we take your questions, we have categories so that they're all lumped into groups.
Yeah.
So that we're not like all over the map. And by far, huge chunk is women's division.
Yeah.
Like, so you guys are interested in this stuff. Huge buzz coming off of Hell in a Cell. Some people love the match. Some people didn't love the match. Some people loved the match but hated the ending. Some people were cool with it. Some people hated Sasha not winning. Some people loved Charlotte winning. It was all over the map.
Yeah.
I thought it should have opened the show because I thought it was that important.
Yeah.
But
they did at least put it at the top of one of the hours.
And they gave it a lot of time, and it was really cool. I thought it was really well done. Charlotte came out, delivered a great heel promo. I thought she did a really great job. She's one of those few heels who just does heel things. And when she turns face, I think, if she does at any point, because she's, apparently, according to some interview, she loves being heel and she doesn't like being face.
Yeah.
When she does, because I could see some sort of Charlotte Nia Jax thing after Mania down the line where, because they're really booking Nia to be a freaking monster. And I love that.
Yes.
So speaking of her, so Charlotte comes out, cuts his heel promo, and then starts talking about the weakest link. So Charlotte is the captain of
the women's Raw Survivor Series team, yes.
She starts calling out some of the SmackDown ladies.
Yes.
And then she starts talking about the weakest link on her team is Bayley. And Bayley comes down to address this. And Bayley does her Bayley thing, girl next door type thing. And Charlotte says, well, we're going to test out how much of a weak link you are by you're going to take on one of your teammates.
And Bayley thought it was going to be Dana Brooke.
She laughed. That was funny. She said, you think I'm going to have a problem with your protege, Dana Brooke? I don't think so. It was really cute. Because everything Bayley does is cute. And then she's like, no, it's not her. And it's Nia Jax. And she comes out and just completely demolishes Bayley.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. And I love it because Bayley needs to be protected to a point. Bayley is like, somebody mentioned this in our comments or on Twitter or someplace. I think it's one of our questions. Says, is Bayley like Sami Zayn? Is she the same? And yeah, Bayley is like, if you look at her run in NXT, it mirrored a lot of it. Like there was this obstacle after obstacle and people would just kill her, and she'd always come back. And perseverance is her thing.
Yeah. And we actually saw a similar storyline.
Yes.
Between Nia Jax and Bayley in NXT.
Yeah, and it was really, really well done.
Yep.
And I thought it was great. And I think this is going to be a very interesting dynamic leading up to. This makes me think that the women with the women's division, I really see SmackDown going over mainly because of this. I think this is a big enough thing to sort of destroy the women's division. I think that logically makes sense from a storyline point of view.
So with Sasha not on Raw last night, what do you think is next for her?
Have you looked into that?
As far as legit injury?
Yeah.
Haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything in it, which makes me think there is not a legit injury.
Yeah, I don't think there is
It was interesting that I like that in terms of like selling the hell out of that cell, if you will, because she got just completely annihilated.
Yeah.
So I like that. Be interesting to see because obviously she has to be. We have Charlotte, Nia Jax, Bayley, who's 4 and 5.
Dana would probably be on there.
You think Dana'd be on there? Really? Well, it'd have to be Dana because there's nobody else besides
Emelina.
Oh, she's supposed to make her
soon.
I don't know. Stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah,
because you think when they announce like the fifth person, it's gonna be Sasha.
Yeah,
you know,
she still has a rematch coming.
That's like the most dysfunctional Survivor Series team ever, which will make it very entertaining.
I know. There's a lot of potential stories.
A lot of good stories there. Which is funny because we haven't really been able to say that with the women's division on Raw because so many people had to be protected.
Yeah.
But I like that Bayley doesn't really need to be protected, or she needs to be protected to a point.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense when Nia Jax comes in and just ragdolls her. So here we. Oh yeah, Dana was on comment. That's right. Dana was on commentary. Australis, right? I like that. Did you see the David Pumpkins skit?
Yeah.
And Corey Graves
that
and Chris Jericho referenced
awesome.
David Pumpkins.
I know.
I was cracking up. And Byron was dressed as a baby.
Yeah, he had a onesie on.
That's great.
It was fantastic.
Let's see. We had Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Shining Stars. Having another, I like Cesaro and Sheamus. Inconsequential match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you knew who was going over.
More just booking them doing their thing. That's okay. Anyways, let's see here. Golden Truth were in a haunted house. I do actually want to watch this. I didn't see it. Was it funny?
Goldust had a couple of good lines, but it was pretty much just them screaming at things.
I love it. I love that Goldust is getting paid to do that, and Truth for that matter. I love our Truth.
I know.
He's great. So and then we had a segment. Yeah, Jericho Owens backstage. We kind of talked about that a little bit when Jericho was talking about, and they said they want to make it the Canadian title.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, the greatest thing about that was when Owens said Jinx.
Yeah, I know. And when they said it at the same time, I was expecting him to do the same thing.
So yeah, and then Jericho versus Reigns for the that was Raw. I thought all in all, like the patchwork that I saw, the stitched together episode.
It was a pretty entertaining show.
It seemed pretty entertaining.
It was far better than what was on last week.
I know the post pay-per-view episodes. It's like, at least we're gonna get at least one decent Raw.
Yeah,
because there's always gonna be the post pay-per-view one. Well, they mix things up a little bit. All right, Larson, are you ready to answer questions?
Yeah, let's answer some questions.
Questions. I have questions for you. I want them answered immediately.
Michael Barnes. Yeah. Does WWE need to stop invoking the image of Mick Foley falling off through Hell in a Cell every time the pay-per-view is coming up in order to temper fans' expectations for the matches? Seems there's complaints every time someone doesn't bleed or take some gnarly bump off the cell. Yes.
I'm glad you're so definitive about
100% yes.
Because I agree with it. And the next question, this is actually the next question, but my question then is, should they stop having Mick Foley come out to do the same promo for Hell in a Cell? Because he did the exact same thing with Rollins and Ambrose last time. I know. You don't know what that cell does to you. I do. Women.
They just don't have to have him come out and cut a promo every year around Hell in a Cell.
I know.
I think people know full well what can happen in that.
They show that footage a lot. Yeah. Halftime Douglas County lightweight champion Tyler Gray. He has a stakes idea. Can we do switching off questions?
Sure. Yeah.
That's true. I like switching up.
Yeah, it's good.
The brand with the most wins out of the 3 matches gets to have their belt main event Mania. And to keep the Royal Rumble important, let the winner of the Rumble pick which belt he pursues. I always did like having the winner of the Rumble back during the original brand split pick which belt he went after.
I do too.
I always liked that. So I like that.
Regardless of which brand they were on, too.
Yeah. In terms of the belt main eventing WrestleMania, I'm kind of iffy on that one just because sometimes they need to order the matches in a certain way to have the show flow well, also, and then that would be taking that option away.
Say on Raw, Raw wins the Survivor Series matches.
Okay. They
get the best out of 3. Is telegraphing the main event of WrestleMania pretty clearly then.
Yeah.
There could be suspense, but there's no surprise.
Yeah.
And who's going to win the Rumble? It could only be a couple guys.
Right.
So.
And on top of that, like, Mania always has, you never really
Unless
know.
They pull this triple main event
I think
again.
That's what because, it could be Undertaker main eventing WrestleMania. It could be any number of things main eventing. It's always weird with Mania.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Steve Alessi, which Survivor Series match are you looking forward to most and least? I think the tag team match will be the stinker, and the men's match will be the best.
I think the women's match is to me is I think there's a lot of interesting things going into those. I think he says tag team match will be the stinker. I'm probably on board with that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think there's going to be a lot of interesting parts to both the women's and men's matches.
And I think that primarily the reason the tag team match might be the least of the three is not due to the ability of the combatants, but there's just not as many storylines involved that are interesting.
Off the top of my head, I would actually say that the women's Raw side of things is probably going to be the most interesting going into that. That's just me.
You're up.
Mike Petrosky, who would represent the Fuck roster in a Survivor Series style match versus either Raw or SmackDown. Who would represent the Fuck roster?
Well, you have to have Top Notch because he's a champion.
No, you don't have to have Top Notch.
And you can't have Mecha Santa because he's retired.
No, you can have Mecha Santa.
No, he's retired.
But this is all time. There is no Fuck roster right now.
That's true.
It's because we're completely revamping everything.
Yeah.
So, all-time Survivor Series.
You mean all-time Friendo Unified Championship Wrestling?
Fuck wrestling, yeah.
Friendo Unified Championship
Mecha Santa
Wrestling.
is your captain.
Top Notch. No, Top Notch is champion.
Top Notch has had one match in his entire career. One match.
And he won the belt.
One match.
And he won the belt.
Fine. Top Notch Mecha Santa, but Mecha Santa's captain.
No. Thick balls.
No, thick balls. I'm going to go back. Beef jerky's on my shit.
Oh, that's good.
Beef jerky's in there. Go back. Gigi Allen's in there.
Me, because I remember the classic I Quit match between myself and Gigi Allen.
All right, and then you're on there. There's 5.
There
That's
you go.
Good.
Storyline potential.
So much storyline potential there.
Anthony Perks. Looking at the Raw teams now, is there any way SmackDown can compete with them? Yes. Because they're not going to have Raw sweep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we've heard that John Cena might not be, he's been pulled from advertising at Survivor Series, is that right? So that eliminates SmackDown.
That leaves a pretty huge void.
Well, it means SmackDown isn't guaranteed to win. Because if Cena was in there, I could just imagine like all 9 guys and like Pat Patterson talking about how the match is going to go down. And then Cena walks in. Hey guys, what's going on? Why are you all wearing shoes in here? Oh, you're talking about the finish of the match? Okay, this is how it goes down. I win. Goodbye. See you at 5.
Yeah, pretty much.
See you at 5. Let's see
we'll
here.
have a formal dinner in craft service.
Then we'll have a formal dinner at craft services. Chris Kimmel, now that Braun Strowman is going to be part of the Raw team for Survivor Series, wouldn't it be interesting if they have Bray Wyatt as part of the SmackDown team? And how would that play out?
Yes,
that would be very interesting.
I suspect that's going to happen.
I would love to see, because you're right. I suspect that will happen. This is what I like about Survivor Series, because of the brand split, is you're going to get those moments that you get traditionally in the Rumble.
Yep.
You're going to get them in Survivor Series. Those great little mini stories.
So isn't Daniel Bryan going to announce the SmackDown teams tonight?
Is that today?
So it's going to be AJ, Dean, Bray, Randy, and I guess Luke Harper?
Baron.
You think?
Baron Corbin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I'm really looking forward to it because I think there will be a moment where Bray and Braun are in the ring together.
Yeah.
And Braun probably isn't going to take any of Bray's shit. Like, he's not going to lay down for anybody. And Bray will, this is what's going to happen. Bray will start laughing, he'll back up, and he'll tag somebody else in.
Yep.
That's how it's going to go down.
Or it could be interesting if Braun realigns himself with the Wyatt family.
I would love that to happen. It's not going to happen. I would love for that to happen. But what I'm saying is a more possible thing.
I know.
You know, I would love that.
Brigadoon. With 4 hours to fill, would you try to unite any brand-separated stables, the Club, Shield, Wyatt, and get them in on the action? How would you book it?
Well, we're definitely going to see the Club. We're definitely going to see AJ and the Club sit backstage.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any shenanigans during that.
I think he means in the ring.
I mean, you're going to see Seth or Roman or both of them against Dean at some point.
But they're not going to align themselves.
Nobody's going to realign.
The only one of these that could potentially happen is if Braun jumps over to SmackDown to realign himself with the Wyatt. But given the push he's been getting, I don't see how they're going to.
That's the thing, dude. There's no way.
They're going to make him just a member of the Wyatt family.
It would. I mean, look, it's so much intrigue if he did that.
Yeah.
And then that's how Team Raw loses.
Yeah.
But there's not, just given the way they're doing it, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
But imagine Braun, the way they built up Braun now, and then put him over on SmackDown to like start cleaning house over there. That'd be great.
Yeah. Remember, we had the idea long ago that Braun somehow wins the title just to give it to Bray.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty neat.
Oh, I'd love that. Gene the Grappler, would you agree that having this is also formerly Chandler 3 Productions. We always have to mention that. Would you agree that having no title matches at Survivor Series proves that the brand split has made it harder to create new storylines? I don't think so. I don't think there's much difference between the two. I mean, honestly, look, if you look at it, I think more people are involved in storylines now than before the brand split.
And Survivor Series matches like this give us an opportunity to see storylines kind of intertwine and overlap and create interesting dynamics amongst these huge Survivor Series matches.
Yeah, because essentially what you have now is instead of, Raw, which is a 3-hour program, and then, like your B show, which is essentially a recap show, now you just have one big 5-hour show.
Yeah.
With 2 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny Suarez. Steve, I hope you get my name right this time. Well, I read the question. So.
Oh, because it's Donnie.
Oh, Donnie, sorry.
We keep on saying Danny.
That's weird.
Donnie Suarez.
Sorry, Donnie. My question is about how Roman Reigns treats the belt. To have the strap hang over your back seems disrespectful to the title's history. Am I being too critical? Did you notice that Foley...
yes, and I cannot stand that he doesn't display the belt, that he tosses it over his shoulder like a sack of freaking garbage.
He didn't do that with the world title when he had it, did he?
No, he didn't. He held it proud like this. He just... like it's a jacket or something.
Is he trying to say something?
I don't know. I love that Foley did what he did, though.
I know.
I love that.
I know.
What do you think that was? That was a shoot.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he say something to him while he was
He did, but I didn't hear what it was.
No,
I didn't hear what it was.
That's interesting.
I know. I wonder. Roman can't say anything about that.
No.
Can't be like, you should do that. Try to do that with Brock Lesnar, though.
Oh, no.
Let's see here. Your turn, I think.
No, I just read that one.
Okay. Haven Elric. Has Rusev lost some credibility as a monster by being featured mostly as just Lana's husband the past few months? I don't really perceive him as being presented in that manner.
Nope.
Nor
do I.
They're just, saying what he is because that's what the case is. Adding that to storyline is okay, but, I think he's been booked very strong. He's been booked very strong against a guy who they really want to push to the moon. And you're going to lose. And you're going to look, I'm not going to say weak, but compared to Roman Reigns, you're going to look weak. Everybody looks weak.
Well, I mean, even when Rusev loses like he did at Hell in a Cell, he still looks strong.
But the thing is, when Rusev comes out to challenge Goldberg, it's not the same as if like Heath Slater came out to challenge Goldberg. You know what I mean? Like it's not an inherent.
Rusev is taken seriously.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly it.
Dylan Haggett. Hey guys, I was wondering how would you guys turn Rusev face, if at all?
He'll be naturally a face within about a year.
Yeah.
Like if they keep
building up to...
People just are starting to really like Rusev. He doesn't get much heel heat. He gets Rusev heat. People like Rusev.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's starting to transcend the face-heel dynamic to where people appreciate the quality of his work.
Exactly.
And that's usually the precursor to a solid face turn.
Absolutely. Nick Horrigan. As a Roman Reigns fan, I think he's made strides, especially in the U.S. title scene. I like the positivity from Nick
do too.
Here, yeah. But ultimately, what does he need to do to really get over? Personally, I think he just needs to be more intense and less douchey.
He needs to sell.
Yes, I think what he's saying, be more intense, I think that's one aspect of it. I think being less is one part of it. Selling is such the key. You need to know that your heroes are vulnerable and they can overcome odds. Otherwise, it's just boring.
There's no drama.
There's no drama there. There's no tension. And part of it is that stupid vest. Like if he keeps that stupid vest on, there's a giant vital part of your body that can be injured can no longer be injured. It's not realistic. So I think he needs to show some amount of vulnerability.
Correct.
Not saying that he has to come out there and cry or anything. I'm just saying he needs to show that he can be hurt.
Yes. TJ Kinder. Do you also feel like Ambrose was going to show up at any moment last night after the main event? No.
Do you also feel like Ambrose is going to show up in
to make the Shield reunion complete?
I didn't. He said, because in his question he also expands a little bit, and he says because the WWE is known for their lack of consistency and logic, which is a good point. But nah, not really. It wouldn't. They don't go past a certain amount of illogic.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have made any sense. Like, why would he have been there all of a sudden?
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Goldberg, Oh, that's the that's the section we're on. Goldberg didn't submit a question. This is coming from retired Dwayne Nix, and Jay Wood also had a similar type question. Retired Dwayne Nix says, was it just me, or did Goldberg's jackhammer and spear look a little rusty? Should we be worried about his performance at Survivor Series?
Well, he's 49 years old.
Yeah, we mentioned this at the head of the show.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the ring in 12 years.
He's fine.
He does seem motivated. He seems like he's putting in the work necessary.
Rust is gonna happen.
To put forth the best performance you can.
He's fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Who's next?
One thing he said during the interview was he's on Russillo and Canal, that he's aware of what he can and can't do.
Yeah.
And he seemed comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to try to do things that he doesn't think he can do.
Yeah.
Matthew Eaton. The Goldberg slip during the Rusev jackhammer was edited out during the WWE YouTube recall or video.
Mm-hmm.
What wrestler or promo would you stitch and edit together to make it look stronger in future packages? It wasn't. I didn't know it was a slip during the jackhammer. It was when he was giving him knees.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he fell.
Yeah. What
wrestler or promo would you stitch?
So what incident would you stitch together to see if you can make it be better? The only thing I can think of really is like, I mean, I can probably think of a bunch if I really gave it some thought, but like, whenever I was to present a recall to the Hell in a Cell Sasha Charlotte match, I would get a different, because I'm pretty sure they record from a bunch of different angles, like they have that footage on hard drive. Maybe. I would try to get the finish from a different angle and like present that as it should be presented.
Yeah.
But I mean, geez, you can go through. You could do like when freaking Brock Lesnar moonsaulted on the Kurt Angle. That's just hard to watch.
Yeah, cut to a different angle where you don't see him almost break his neck.
Same with the Undertaker at WrestleMania 25.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to see that stuff.
No. Yeah, if you on that one on the Undertaker spot, if you cut to a camera behind the cameraman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't really see, the Undertaker's leap out of the ring quite as well, but you cover up the fact that he landed on his head. Is this your question?
Chris Miller, Universal. Because it says there on the notes.
That's what it says, yeah.
Chris Miller. I was still stunned to hear. So this is the only question we really have about like the Universal title scene.
I know.
I was still stunned to hear Seth had been in 16 consecutive pay-per-view main title matches. As much as I like him, I feel he needs to change things up as he's becoming too repetitive. Apart from reuniting the Shield, how would you book Seth going forward? Also, did you see Cena dressing like Nikki? Yeah, I did. It's weird. Didn't like it. Weird. He's an ugly woman.
Seth being in that many consecutive pay-per-view title matches isn't necessarily him as a character being repetitive.
Yeah.
It's just him being dominant.
Yeah. I think Chris here wants some variety, and I don't blame him.
No, I don't either.
You know what I mean? Yeah. How would you book him going for? I think everybody is just sort of waiting around for Seth. Number one, I think the Survivor Series Shield thing. I think that's going to be interesting, and then after that, we're going to get him versus Triple H. I hope. And that'll be interesting.
Face Seth works when he's intense.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he's not intense, he just looks
Seth works when he's intense.
He just looks like he's going through the motions.
Right, exactly.
This is mine, right? Cesar Garcia. Why do they keep giving Sasha Banks short title reigns? Good question.
The last one I could understand because she needed to take a month off to heal up.
This one I'm not sure.
This one I have it has to be. Okay, well, we've got the Survivor Series thing coming up. We've got some really stellar ideas. This is what I hope.
Here's what I thought. Maybe
go ahead.
Like, think if Sasha retains at Hell in a Cell, that feels like the blow off for this Sasha Charlotte feud.
Mm-hmm.
So, regardless what Sasha moved on to next, whether it be Nia Jax or Bayley, there really wouldn't be much for Charlotte to do.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas if Charlotte wins, then you still have the option of doing more Charlotte and Sasha plus Charlotte and Bayley.
Yeah.
So maybe they just thought, okay, this is a way to keep all our main event players involved in the title scene.
No, I think you're right about that. And if you look at last night, Charlotte coming out, I thought what she did with the title, like holding the title, was much more effective for what we have coming up than if it was the other way around. So I think going forward, it probably does make sense. It's just they needed to book that out in advance. They needed to think about that in advance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And who knows? It might have been a weird Vince thing that changed it around.
Yeah, and who knows what his reasoning was for making that change.
Yeah. I mean, having Sasha be captain of the team and then Charlotte having to eat some crow could have been interesting as well. I'm just saying last night, Charlotte cutting that promo, being the captain of the team, I thought was really effective.
That being said, I still think, and I will keep saying this, that Sasha Bayley at WrestleMania, Sasha turning heel on Bayley, huge money.
Yeah.
Huge money.
But I think that's so. I think at this point now, because of that performance at Hell in a Cell and her losing, is so far away from happening.
Oh yeah,
Sasha's probably she's probably the Finn Balor now. You know, it's like he ain't turning heel anytime soon.
Oh, I know.
She's not turning heel anytime soon, even though we know what she can do with that.
Yeah. And just think of all the heat she would get from turning heel on Bayley.
I know.
Based on their relationship, and especially based on the performances they had in NXT.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It'll be good stuff.
KJ from NY. Doesn't Charlotte have to feud with Sasha or Bayley? Nobody else is on that level. Plus, she must stay heel since she does such good work. She said that she enjoys being heel. She prefers that. Does Charlotte have to feud with Sasha or Bayley? Yeah. I mean, that they're the top.
That's the main event scene in the women's division right now.
They're the cream of the crop in the company in terms of female performers, and there's Becky Lynch.
Undisputed going in Raw Friendos Patreon champion Carlos Hackworth.
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
That is. With all the title changing for the Raw women's division, do you think WWE is trying to have Charlotte tie or pass her dad's record?
I do think that's an active goal they're aiming for. I don't, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
I just think that she's the foundation. She's the one they can count on to carry the belt and be legitimate. You know,
and her winning streak on pay-per-views provides some decent narrative fodder going forward.
Yeah. I think that her dad's record is probably like something that they're gonna just worry about when she gets close to it.
But also by that point,
a while from now,
John Cena will probably hold the record for most world championships too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be less of a comparison.
Trish Stratus has the record for most women's championships.
Is it 6?
6 or 8?
Lucas Coward Marshall. With the great match last night or at Hell in a Cell, Sasha versus Charlotte, can you remember any other matches of that quality with an underwhelming finish? What a good question. The Montreal Screwjob.
I just thought of that
That was a great finish, though. That was a great finish. And everybody talking about it. You imagine if Twitter was around back then. What just happened? Was that a shoot or work?
I know.
Was that a botch?
We had to all wait until the next day on the dirt sheets.
I know.
For them to comment
keep on
it.
reloading Dave Meltzer's Twitter feed.
I'm trying to think of other matches that were really good that had an underwhelming finish.
Oh, the one we talked about the other day on the list show, Hell in a Cell, Ambrose Rollins. Really good match, and then that fucking hologram shows up of Bray Wyatt. That was so dumb.
Yeah.
What was the match? A lot of Bray Wyatt matches end up kind of stupid because of his supernatural shit. Like, what was the one? Wasn't there one with like that little kid from the Cam Newton commercial shows up? Or was that at the beginning of the match? I don't know, having that little kid. And I think he was fighting John Cena.
Yeah. It was a cage match, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember.
Where Cena was about to get out of the cage.
Yes. And he got freaked out by the kid or something.
Yeah, that one wasn't nearly as bad as the Hell in the Cell one.
I know. Hologram?
With the Bray hologram.
That's horrible. What are you doing over there? Anyways, let's see here. I think you're up.
No, you are.
Okay, Eddie Men.
No, sorry.
At Hell in a Cell. I know. I said this one. You're up. You're on Eddie Men.
Eddie Men. At Hell in a Cell, I enjoyed Dana Brooks' ring gear. I thought the black and gold made her look like a true heel despite her poor wrestling technique. My question is, what are your top 5 male and top 5 women in ring gear currently? 5. Let's do
Enzo
men.
was mine probably because it always looks comfy and he's got Jordans on like the best new shoes.
Yeah, man. He always gets the new Jordans every week.
Yeah.
It's great.
So I like his gear. I like
Kevin Owens. He seems comfy.
Oh my gosh. Kevin Owens essentially wears what I wear during the summer.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. I love that. Worst of Jericho's is so bad.
No, that's not the question though.
I know, but his body cannot, like, he's got such a freaking, like, his body is getting old.
Bray Wyatt seems comfy.
Roman Reigns is my worst. Oh, Bray's is great. Bray's is fantastic. That's amazing. Let's see here. Who else?
Charlotte's robes are the best.
Yeah, those are the best.
Hype Bros.
Oh no! I get a Baron Corbin. I love Baron Corbin.
That's not too different from Bray's though.
No, I know it's just comfy. It looks comfy.
But he's got that like
and he always
saw blade looking thing on his knee.
He still wears like his old gray NXT merchandise shirt.
I know.
Like the only shirt they have for Baron.
I don't know. I say Hype Bros. The top 5 women. Oh, I guess we said Charlotte.
Oh wait, are you talking about? Wait, hold on a second though. With the Hype Bros, are you talking about the Zubaz? Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, that's Mojo Rawley.
Top 5 women. We mentioned Charlotte already.
Yeah, Charlotte's robes are amazing. I like Bayley's members only looking windbreaker. Yeah. The windbreaker's great. Naomi.
Yes.
Great ring gear.
Yes.
I like Alexa Bliss when she comes out with that Freddy Krueger outfit.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's just random. Why are you Freddy Krueger? I like Nikki's. She looks like she paints on those shorts. Man, moving on now. That's good enough. Let's see here. Undisputed champion Marty, too sweet. Do you think putting Bayley on Raw was a good idea? And should Asuka be on SmackDown Live or Raw, given how many protected women are? This is a question. He had a couple more thoughts here. But basically, given how many protected women there are on Raw, and Bayley seeming to be one of them, was it a good idea to put her on Raw? I say yes. I still think that her mixing up with Sasha and Charlotte was a good idea.
Especially given the circumstances of her call-up.
Yeah.
It kind of necessitated her being on Raw.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
As for Asuka, I kind of feel like she needs to be on Raw.
I know, me too, because the heavy hitters are on Raw.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing for me is that the heavy hitters are on there. And so to really generate actual fear with them, get Asuka in there.
Yeah.
Because Asuka's gonna kill you. You're up. Waffle House World.
2-time Waffle House World Waffle Eating Champion. Seeing as WWE really likes to mention Charlotte's pay-per-view undefeated streak, could you see her hold the women's title till WrestleMania, then defending it against Asuka in a streak versus streak match?
Whenever I see the words streak versus streak match written out or typed out, I always think steak versus steak match. Sounds good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. We should get some steak delivered for dinner.
There you go. What is it now saying is WWE likes?
I can see Charlotte holding the belt leading up to and into WrestleMania, but
that's going to be Bayley.
Yeah, I think Bayley's going to be the one winning it at WrestleMania.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if they put Asuka on SmackDown now that I really think about it.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah.
Because you just can't keep feeding all the top talent to Raw.
Yeah, I know. Anthony, is this Nieper? What are your thoughts of trotting out Nia Jax against Bayley, since both seem to need protection?
It feeds perfectly into Bayley's character and overall narrative.
Bayley needs protection from jobbers. Bayley doesn't need protection from looking weak in storylines to opponents that are immovable objects.
Yes.
You know, she needs to be able to fight combat like that stuff.
Yes. Because eventually she will overcome.
Yeah, exactly.
And she will eventually come out ahead in that feud.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, me. Matt Thomas. Do you think Sasha and Charlotte trading the title back and forth is devaluing the title? No, I don't.
I'm not huge on it, to be honest with you.
I always go back to the Attitude Era days when they would trade around that world title all over the place, and 90% of the time it didn't devalue the belt because they were trading it amongst strong competitors.
It's not if they're giving the belt to like Emelina and Summer Rae and Paige. It's not like they're going down there. It's like it's like a great rivalry.
Yeah,
and the belt's being passed between two amazing competitors.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it devalues the belt. I think it's perplexing when they do stuff like that, though. Like Sasha holds it for a small period of time.
I agree
think
with
it's
that.
Weird. Eric Seaver, how damaging was Bayley's loss to Nia Jax, if at all?
Not at all.
Or here's one he says: is she kind of like Sami Zayn? Yeah, and I think in a manner that if Sami Zayn was in a division with only 3 other people, then he'd be a big competitor. You know, he'd be further up the chain too.
Yeah. Robert Sarah Fast Lanyon. Do you think we'll see that 4 horsewomen 4-way match with the brand split and all? And if yes, what could the story be for it to happen?
I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon.
No,
because Becky Lynch is so firmly entrenched in SmackDown as their anchor. So I don't think so. Rory Priest, with Sasha no longer the champ, the odds of seeing a Sasha versus Bayley match in next year's WrestleMania for the title is slim. Who do you think will be in the title match at that point, and who should walk out champ?
We said in the show yesterday that it could be another triple threat match this year.
I think it should be another triple threat match, and I think Bayley should walk away with it.
Yeah, it would make sense too, especially with the feud between Sasha and Charlotte, and say Charlotte and Bayley feud for 2-3 months, and they both both Sasha and Bayley end up coming up short, but yet still have legitimate claims to the title.
Yeah.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
See if it happens, though. Jeffrey Nguyen. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeffrey Nguyen. The hot potato situation with the women's title is really frustrating and cemented the fact that SmackDown is a better show. Thoughts?
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think.
P.S. I sat next to the announcer's table at Hell in a Cell and yelled at Morrow during the kickoff to convince him to unblock you. He wasn't having it, unfortunately.
I don't really want people to harass Mauro Ranallo.
Yeah.
But there's a small part of me that thinks it's funny. If wherever he goes, there's always somebody saying, Mauro, unblock Steven Larson. John Herkoff. Do you see Charlotte dropping the belt to Bayley soon, like at the Rumble, or do you see her holding it till Mania and dropping it to Sasha? Neither. I see her holding it till Mania and dropping it to Bayley.
Agreed. Ryan Kearney. New patron here all the way from Scotland. Hi.
Scotland. That's where Becky Lynch is from.
No.
The Scottish lass kicker,
Not
right? No.
not her
I don't
catchphrase,
think
no.
so.
My question is, do you think Sasha versus Charlotte at Hell in a Cell was the best women's match you've ever seen?
Ever?
No.
What do you think the best one is?
Sasha Bayley.
Oh, yeah.
Take
Sasha
over Brooklyn.
Bayley. Yeah. Ooh, my goodness.
That's the best one I've ever seen.
World Brass Knuckles Champion Justin England. I've heard rumblings that Charlotte could be the face of the Reign of Terror 2.0.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what the Reign of Terror 1.0 is. Do you think she'll be the female Triple H of the early 2000s, or is this just a one-off bad booking?
This question confuses me.
On a couple different levels. I don't think this is bad booking necessarily. I think they had. I think that the finish of the match. I think they probably called an audible. From what I understand, that table was supposed to break.
Yeah,
might have been a better finish that way. Maybe get a closer camera. I think that the TV execution was poor.
Yes,
and the audible was unfortunate, but probably necessary.
Yeah.
I think having the visceral image of Sasha getting thrown through that table would have been probably a more impactful lead up to. And on top of that,
the finish of the match.
I think given Charlotte tweeting what she did at Sasha, and then last night when she said what she said as a heel, but immediately preceding that, she says losing isn't always a bad thing. Get out of that hospital bed.
Yeah.
And that was her shooting, I think, through character.
Yeah.
But her saying, Sasha, you probably deserved this. And that's her appealing to Sasha as her friend. Because, they're probably really close.
Yes. Nathan. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Nathan Broomfield. During that segment at Hell in a Cell with Sasha and the stretcher, it sure felt like, to me, a bit of a repeat of the 1998 King of the Ring with Mankind coming back to the ring from the stretcher from that crazy bump off the cell. Can you think of any other storyline that has seemed to be copied and pasted from the past into modern day booking? Keep up the fantastic work. I love you guys.
Like the biggest one is the Authority. Like ever since Vince McMahon became that authority figure, ad nauseum, there's always been an authority figure,
a heel authority figure
in the WWE. Always, always, always.
The other, maybe it went to NXT.
And the Montreal Screwjob they always try to keep on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more of a direct reference.
But in like basic tag team wrestling, it's the same formula.
Yeah.
The heels cut the ring in half.
Yeah.
Keep one of the babyface competitors on there. Beat him up. The story is the babyface has to make his way to his corner and get the hot tag.
Yeah.
That's every tag team match.
Yeah.
That's the basic psychology.
I'm trying to think of anything more specific in terms of like just straight up reusing things. And I can't really off the top of my head, but I know there's a million of them out there.
I mean, there's basic conventions in pro wrestling.
There's basic conventions. With the tag match, I think it's sort of a basic convention.
Yeah, that's just how most tag matches are booked.
Matches work,
yeah.
Let's see here. Jamie to 10. Do you see Big E one day being a main eventer / world champion or universal champion? If so, how would you book his main event title run? At this point, no, I don't. I think there's too much young talent. I think there's too many guys coming up. I think the guy probably at this point. I don't know. I'm so. The New Day are so like just. It's just the New Day, there's nothing else that I can envision with them after they split, which I know will probably happen.
Yeah.
I just don't know where they go with him from there.
I've said multiple times that I think he has the best chance of being a main event player post New Day.
I've always felt that it's been Xavier just because of his mic skills. And I know he's on the smaller side and they don't generally like that. But I could maybe see Xavier, especially seeing his work in the ring, transition. Because sometimes his work in the ring gets lost amid the fact that there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
I could see him maybe becoming a Daniel Bryan-esque guy because he's got the ring. He's got the ring. He's got the ring work. He's got the mic skills. He's got the charisma.
Yeah.
It's just I wonder if he's got the X factor that Daniel Bryan had. And I know that's a lofty ceiling. That's a massive ceiling. But I think if anybody has the potential to get there, it might be Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
So, and on top of that, we've never seen him really in the WWE with a serious push on a singles.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We haven't seen that. We've seen that with Big E, and we've seen it with Kofi.
Yeah. Alexander Graham.
Bell.
Who do you think will be the first cruiserweight to capture the Universal title? I would like to see Cedric Alexander have a run with the belt. 100% agree.
If anybody has a chance
100% agree.
coming out of that, it's going to be Cedric.
Yep. Agreed. 100%.
Patrick Sparks. Hey, friendos. We also have a video question later on, Patrick. I don't like the TJ Perkins character at all. What should he be rebooked as, and where does he go from here?
They need to get rid of that video game gimmick.
I know. It's so superficial and, like, not, like, what? You never, I hate that stuff. And he makes references to video games all the time. You need to hit the restart button.
Shoehorned
you need
into
to
his
pause.
promos and stuff.
You need to first-person shooter. I can't stand it.
Life's just an open world game.
Please tell me he didn't say that, did he?
No, I just
okay. Yeah.
The ring
that sounds like something stupid.
The ring is my sandbox.
Yeah, exactly. You're up. Am I
No,
up?
yeah.
You're up? No, I said
Oh,
Patrick
yeah, sorry.
Sparks. Hey, friendos.
See, this is the problem with alternating.
We
that we
never
just
know
forget.
what's going on.
Joshua N. Martinez. I'm planning on going to WrestleMania this year for the first time. My question is, should I opt for the WWE travel packages or just buy things separately? With the package, you get hotel plus NXT Hall of Fame, Mania access, and of course Mania. How have you guys done it in the past? We've been to one WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It was close enough that we could drive and come back home the same night.
Nearby. Yeah.
It's like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
We are going next year in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting everything separately.
Yeah, we got our Airbnb. Mm-hmm. We'll give you guys the address later, so y'all can come and hang out in the middle of the night with machetes. No, we don't want you to do that.
We just got our flights.
We just got our flights. Oh, did you book those?
Yeah, I told you I did.
Nice.
And on November 18th, when WrestleMania tickets go on sale, we will procure our tickets then.
If you guys are gonna be in Orlando for WrestleMania, we're doing a YouTubers type show called the Internet Darlings.
Correct.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
With Brian Zane and Wrestling with Regret. One of the Adams, I think Blampied's gonna be there for the show. Grimm's gonna be there, which I'm excited about. Best thumbnails on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Best thumbnail. I freaking love that guy's shit. It's great. Fat scalper. I love Grim. So we're going to be there if you guys want to check it out. It should be a lot of fun. We do a meet and greet thing, and we're also going to we got our front or second row tickets to WCPW.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Same day. So, yeah.
Yeah, our Saturday's going to be busy.
It's going to be a busy Saturday. I know. But we're going to try our damnedest to go to NXT.
Oh, we're not going to just try our damnest. We're going to go to NXT.
We're going to NXT, and then we're going to Mania. It's going to be just a too sweet orgy. It's going to be...
For you,
everybody's
maybe.
just going to be like trying to...
And that's what will happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You're up.
14-time future fuck wrestling champion. He's so in the future he's going to be? I don't get that. Do you think Raw created Raw Live because Talking Smack is so popular, and will it be successful? I think, yeah, they probably took a look at it and said, hey, that's really cool. We want that too.
I think Talking Smack benefits SmackDown more because it gives it the third hour to expand on storylines.
Oh, I agree. The Raw Talk doesn't have Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is great because you can tell that guy kind of doesn't want to be there.
But he's still having a good time.
He's still having a great time. Yeah, exactly. Your turn.
Oh, yeah. Vincent, the smartest wrestling fan in the room, Palmieri. What do you guys think of Taz? It sucks he got hurt before he could do anything in WWE, but I really dug his thing in ECW.
I loved Taz in ECW. I think even more so after, like on commentary, he was always great. Mm-hmm. The great thing about Taz too is that radio show he has now is something he's wanted for 20 years.
Yeah, I remember he said that. Yeah,
built his way. He has made his path to get there, and he's succeeded wildly.
Yeah,
and I love that about Taz.
Yeah,
he seems so sharp.
Yeah.
I need to start listening to that.
Yeah, me too.
Nicholas Viola. Who will be the first person? It is a bummer that he didn't do what he should have done in WWE.
I know.
Such a bummer. He had such a great debut against Kurt Angle too at the Garden.
That was great.
Nicholas Viola. Who will be the first person to pin Braun Strowman?
Rumors are saying it's going to be Samoa Joe.
Man, how much credibility do you think that has? Like, do you think that makes sense? I don't think it makes any sense.
Nope.
They want him to be a monster.
Yep.
Who's the first person? Who's going to be the first person to pin Braun Strowman? It's if they take it to where they want to take it, it's going to be on a huge stage. It's going to be a smaller guy. It's not going to be a big house battle.
Maybe he and Sami Zayn have this feud for a few months.
Right, I know, and they come back to it.
2 or 3 years down the line, or even just a year down the line, they come back to it. Yeah. Joakim Morales. What is your favorite obscure wrestling moment? His is Pete Gas failing to slide to the ring at the 2000 Royal Rumble.
Mine is this. Super obscure. More but better.
Yeah.
And what is that from?
That's from a DX compilation best of VHS tape. Similarly, mine is when The Undertaker was giving an interview, another one of those things, and just said, because of the powers of the darkness.
Well, similarly to that is when they were interviewing some fans outside, and they're asking who you think's going to win in the main event tonight, and Undertaker was in the main event, and they go down a couple people, and I think it might have been Stone Cold Undertaker. I don't know. It's people are like, Stone Cold, and one guy and they're all like fans, they're all marks, and one guy just says, in the most articulate and like, I don't know, like matter of fact way, oh well, I believe the Undertaker's going to win tonight because he has the powers of the darkness.
Yeah.
Like, that was a legitimate reason.
So good.
Shane, powers of darkness.
More but better.
I don't even know what that was from.
More but better might be the best one.
We've used the phrase "more but better" so often.
It was at the very end.
It was at the very end.
And
they
Triple H said it.
Yeah, and Michael Cole, little tiny Michael, said, "What can you expect from the next?" He said, "Oh, part 2." This is before Triple H, and even today Triple H isn't great on the mic.
Yeah,
but back then he used to stumble all the time.
Part 2, more.
Part 2,
it'll be more.
It'll be more,
but better.
And we just like,
funny.
What does that even mean?
We just laughed so hard.
More but better. Oh man, let's see here.
Base Hit King
Eric Base Hit King Blaha. Curious of what you guys thought about your NXT live.
Oh yeah,
experience.
we haven't really talked about it.
It
was fantastic.
We should have done like a vlog thing, but it was more of like, let's just enjoy this in the moment.
And it was fun.
It was a blast. I got to when I was in because we traded off. You took the first half of the show front row.
Yeah.
So you got to see your boy Ty Dillinger.
See, but I didn't. When I got the tickets, I didn't know that one pair ended up being in the front row. I had no idea.
Yeah,
based on the map
they mapped it out really oddly.
Yeah, really strange. So yeah, the first half of the show, I sat front row.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see Ty Dillinger, front row.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Got to see that Roderick Strong Oney Lorcan match,
God,
front row, where you hear they chop each other. You can hear it echo in their chest.
That was rough.
They were hitting each other so hard.
Rough. And the cool thing is the other set of tickets were right on like the sort of
they're
entrance.
about 7 rows behind.
Yeah, exactly, on the barrier, which is still like in the Memorial Auditorium where it was. All these NXT shows are really small venues.
Yeah,
like you're right there, like you can see everything, and they come by and they slap your hand and everything.
Yeah,
it was a blast. It was
but
a lot
talk
of
about
fun.
that magical moment where Shinsuke.
I was hoping when he came out, and he did. So he does, things where he backs up into the crowds and he does the thing, this shit right here. Well, he did that right here, and so I was able to like hit his.
And I look
slap
on,
his
I
jacket.
look on, I see Shinsuke over there. I'm like, oh, that's where I was sitting being in the show.
Yeah.
And look up on the board they have, and sure enough, there's Steve doing this stuff. But on the way back, Shinsuke was given 5s. I got to give him 5.
Yeah.
I touched the belt.
Oh God, that's so great! I touched his leather jacket, his red leather jacket, and it was fantastic. And those authors of pain are terrifying. Like to me, they're because so they teamed with Samoa Joe to take on Shinsuke and TM61, and the authors of pain are legitimately terrifying.
I don't know if you noticed this. So the finish of the main event saw Samoa Joe made one of the guys in TM61 tap out.
I think it was the blue pants.
So Nick Miller.
Yeah.
So
shit, I did not know his name.
So the heel team got the win.
Yeah.
But afterwards, the faces stood tall. Shinsuke gave Joe a Kinshasa.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but as I made sure to watch as they walked past, the authors of pain kind of helped Joe out of the ring and carried him to the back. Mm-hmm. And the whole time Joe was doing this, rolling his eyes in the back of his head.
Yeah.
For the handful of people that could see it.
That's
it was
fantastic.
fantastic. Just that attention to
they
detail.
all put on a hell of a show. Yeah.
Yep.
That Aaliyah is going to be huge. I'm telling you, she's got a look. She's good in the ring.
Just needs more experience.
Yeah, she's young.
But it was fantastic. If you have a chance to go to an NXT live event, especially if you can sit on the floor, do it.
The friendo's the commissioner Ulysses, and now that's a Sandra at the same show.
Yeah.
Another friendo meetup there.
Yep.
That's what we need to start doing, is arranging friendo meetups where we're not there.
That's a good idea.
Put out posts. Who's going to be there? Meet up here, and they just do it themselves.
We didn't talk about the Bobby Roode No Way Jose match.
Oh, man.
Hilarious.
It was fantastic. It was like a good 10, 15 minutes of them goofing around.
Before they even got to any wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell everybody was having a legitimate good time.
Yeah, it's crazy,
in the ring.
right? But at the same time, I'm like, there's like 1,000 people here. Shinsuke Nakamura. And then I thought about, because during Hell in the Cell, they had the LA match, the LA show.
Yeah.
And I know there was a ton of people there, but I'm like, they're really risking putting this up against a pay-per-view. Like Shinsuke Nakamura fighting in a, basically, it's not a high school gymnasium, but on these really tiny shows, they need to call that guy up. They need to. And I know they got plans, but man, they need to call him up.
Yeah. Well, maybe they see him as champ as the guy that could help the brand grow into filling larger venues.
They need to put him on this.
I don't know.
Do that in a different way.
Excuse me. Nicholas Terpenerins. The Trick or Treat match was all right. What's your favorite obscure wrestling match stipulation theme?
I like the shark cage match.
You really don't.
It's hilarious.
It is pretty silly.
I would love to see that live. So doesn't that qualify as me loving something?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I'm not huge on weird stipulations.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get legit about it, that one where, what was it? The Dolph Ziggler Survivor Series match, just because it's sort of been on my mind lately, where the stipulation was, didn't somebody get fired or some shit?
Oh yeah, the whole team would have been fired
except
if
for
they lost.
Cena.
Yeah,
like if they didn't win or something like, I don't know what it was, but I thought that was really good. But
I
don't know. I always think of like those old cheesy. You know what I like? Some stipulation theme. The
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Jason Klein. Did you think that the Battle Royal showcased how strong the Raw mid-card is compared to SmackDown Live? Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's one thing we were talking about SmackDown Live, is that their mid-card is kind of... And it's funny because they don't even try to emphasize that they have a mid-card at all.
Not really.
Because they kind of don't, but they have Baron Corbin, they've got Kalisto. I know Kalisto, I think, is injured right now. But they've got, they have people. They just never show them.
They aren't investing much time in building up.
They're not at all.
Chuck Sips. What former WWE stars did you think had the most potential but was wasted? Got to be Wade Barrett for Chuck Sips.
I think Wade Barrett's a good answer on that one because I think, two great opportunities for Wade Barrett with the Nexus, and Cena buried him because of Cena wanted to bury him. And then on top of that, I thought his Bad News shit was hilarious. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I know.
They had him stop down. I mean, there's probably a ceiling for that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure they reached it with him. Most potential, but was wasted.
I still think they could have done more with Dolph around the time he cashed in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Granted, he got hurt, but after he came back, they just pretty much abandoned.
Yeah.
It seemed like any push they were going to give him.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, Bray Wyatt.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here.
Adam Mayhem.
Just Adam Mayhem. What is the first wrestling match that you remember watching and you were instantly hooked? For me, it was Edge and Christian with Gangrel versus Kai and Tai in WWF Metal. That's awesome.
Huh.
What was the first wrestling match and you were hooked? For me, honestly, it was I didn't get into wrestling until college, junior college, when I started hanging out with you guys. Mm-hmm. And so it was I thought the NWO was really cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is kind of neat, and Hogan's kind of dope now. So I think it was Sting Hogan at Starrcade 97 that year. I was like, oh, talk about a crap finish.
Yeah.
For that earlier question, a decent match. Because, it's Hogan's
It actually wasn't a decent match because Hogan just had the upper hand pretty much the entire time.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it's the first match I ever saw, but it's the first match I remember watching.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Killer Bees against the British Bulldogs on USA Network, probably 84, 85.
Yeah.
And that's the match I remember watching and thought to myself, okay, I'm going to watch more of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think two things got me I think watching it when the very first time I saw RVD in a match on ECW, and the first time I saw ECW and how cool it was, that really got me. I was like, oh man. But I mean, that was after we were already into it. So,
James Rodriguez, do you think Charlotte has been as successful as she's been, being the first to earn every milestone in this new women's revolution because her last name is Flair, or are they just out of options on Raw because of the brand split?
I honestly don't think that the brand split really mattered in this case. I think she's the one who I've said this before about her. I think she's the foundation of the women's division. I think she's the one that they can rely on always. Like, I love Sasha, but she has been, I'm not going to say prone to injury, but she's been the unfortunate victim of injury, because one of them was like a ref kicking her in the head, right?
Yeah, kneed her in the head.
Yeah. So I think she has simply been the one who is always able to perform at a level higher than everybody else and be there.
Yeah.
And always be there.
Yeah.
And that, I think, really matters. Like, consistency with her, consistency and quality are the two biggest things. So regardless, I mean, she might have had the door open. She might have, a little bit of more of the shine because of the Flair name. But I think that once she got in the door, she was fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're up.
Andrew Wormley. Andrew Wormley. What would your theme song be?
We've had this question
if
before.
you were a superstar. I always go to Black Flag's Rise Above.
Yeah.
You always have to change yours because it's not brand safe.
Yeah, I know.
Yours was super furry animals.
Man, don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And now I have to think about it.
You gotta get some Public Enemy in there. That'd be right.
Oh yeah, probably like. Oh yeah.
His Friendo Draft creation.
Which two or more wrestling personalities would you absolutely love to see transversing a haunted house together? Great question.
I mean, the obvious answer is Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
I'd kind of like to see Roman Reigns, just because Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins together, or like the entire Shield together, because those are interesting personalities to respond to spirits and ghosts and ghouls.
Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Let's answer some video questions.
Like them from now, like old to grizzly.
Yeah. Video questions. First one.
Jason the Cabbie. Let's see what Jason has to say.
Good evening, friendos and assorted friendo members of the friendo universe. It's your old pal, Jason the Cabbie. And question tonight. Given that I didn't watch Raw yet as of this recording, because Halloween, and it's probably any questions I had regarding Hell in a Cell will have already been answered by this point. Let's just go to something completely out there. There have been quite a few wrestlers over the years that have decided to dabble in other projects such as movies, music, etc. So let's focus on the music. Chris Jericho had his band Fozzy. Randy Savage had his phenomenal rap album. And I say this with complete seriousness. Phenomenal. What would you have to say was one of your favorite things in that realm? Kind of a follow-up to that. Steve and Larson, do you guys happen to have a copy of Be a Man? Because if you don't, I will make sure I send you one. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
Send it to us, by all means.
Yeah.
We'll put it on the wall. We're running out of room. We got to just start up that wall over there for stand-up stuff.
So after we watched his video question, you told me that there was a Terry Funk record that he made while in Japan.
So Colt Cabana had Terry Funk on his podcast kind of recently. And the podcast started out with that song. He started playing that song immediately. And it took me a second. I was like, is this a song about Terry Funk? And then you hear Terry Funk sing on it. Terry! And what does he say in it?
Oh,
sometimes I'm sad.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Sometimes I get sad.
Yeah. And so I was like, that's right. Terry Funk had his own. And because he tells the story on the podcast, and he's like, I was over there and I didn't want to do this. But they just insisted on making a pop album with me. Don't know why. Have no idea. And it's called like Great Texan or something.
Yeah.
And you can find the songs on YouTube. And one of them's called Barbra Streisand's Nose.
And it's a ripoff of Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Oh yeah. The music itself.
Yes.
Like not the like vocal
melody.
Not the melody.
But the backing tracks.
Even so Beat
and
It.
even the guitar solo is a ripoff of Eddie Van Halen's classic
Yeah.
Beat It guitar solo.
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
It is, and honestly, it's catchy as shit. Like the two songs we heard, the Terry, the one is just Terry. I don't know what it's called. Maybe that's called Great Texan.
Well,
Maybe
the
that's
album,
the title
the
track.
album is called Great Texan. I think that song was too.
And I think that song was, or maybe it's just Terry, I forget. But and then there's Barbara Streisand's Nose, and it's absolutely hilarious. And he sings on it, and it's so bad.
Yeah.
But it is so weird.
Yes.
In all the right ways, though.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, there's no better answer than that.
Yeah,
than
I
Terry
agree.
Funk's
I
album.
think that's the best answer.
We also have one from Patrick Sparks. Let's see what Patrick has to say.
Hey friendos, Pat here. So I was thinking recently, a lot of the WWE Superstars entrances are really good and suit them really well, but a lot of them aren't. AKA Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. I feel like theirs suits them really well. But Buddy Murphy, or whatever his name is, the Lullaby NXT entrance, pure garbage. Absolute garbage. And with that being said, if WWE and NXT Superstars were allowed to use any song as their entrance music, which songs, which artists do you think would fit Superstars the best? I honestly want to see Enzo and Big Cass come out to some Tupac, or maybe some newer New York-based rappers, the Flatbush Zombies, because that'd be really cool. So, what are you thinking, guys? Thanks, friendos. Bye.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. I can't get Patrick Clark's theme song.
Yeah, that's
out
a
of
good
my
one.
head because he's like a Prince character now.
Yeah.
So I would simply give him like 1999 or something like that, or what's another great? When Doves Fly would be great.
When Doves Cry.
When Doves Cry. Sorry, for Patrick Clark.
He mentioned giving Enzo and Cass some Tupac.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Enzo rapping his own theme song.
No, I know, me too, because you don't get that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of somebody else. It's kind of interesting they never had Chris Jericho. Granted, his theme song's iconic at this point, but they never had one of his band's songs as his theme song.
Well, he does the theme song, the intro to his podcast. Talk is Jericho, baby. Have you heard that before? That's what it is.
That's hilarious.
Talk is Jericho, baby.
That's pretty funny.
It is pretty great.
All right, Steve, are you ready?
I am ready.
I'm not yet. Hold on. Okay. What are we going to do now?
Kayfabe Corner, baby.
What is Kayfabe Corner?
It's the ultimate wrestling trivia challenge.
12 names.
Yes.
6 real.
Yes.
Yes. 6 fake.
Yes, correct.
I had to count and make sure that was 2 trivia questions.
Okay.
So the theme, which you can vote on, starting at the $10 level of our Patreon, the Brian Kendrick.
Oh, yeah. And Rich Swan.
And Rich Swan.
That's right. I accidentally saw it on Patreon.
Who do you think won?
Brian Kendrick.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Rich Swan. People love him.
Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
1.
Yes.
Darren 0.
Darren Zero. That's a good name. I'll say real.
Fake.
Oh, wow. Good
2.
job.
Dexter Poindexter.
Fake.
Real.
Oh, shit.
3.
Yeah.
Rick Barber.
Real.
Fake.
Wow.
4.
We got nothing so far.
4. Bill Williams.
Real.
Fake. 5.
What a stupid name.
5. Amplifier.
Real?
Yeah, that's a great
I
name.
gotta get on the board somehow.
That is a great name.
That is a really good name. It
6.
sounds hella fake, though.
Rubik's.
Rubik's. Oh, that's real.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
7. Merlin Everlake.
Fake.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
8.
Yeah.
Party Marty.
Party Marty? Shit. I'll say real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
9. Adam Flash.
Adam Flash. Nah, you made that up. It's fake.
Real.
Oh, bummer.
Next, Iceman Mitchell.
Nah, fake.
Yes.
Okay.
11. Matt Maverick.
Oh, real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12. Alex Hansen.
Matt Maverick is didn't I use that last week?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think I used that last week. Who now? What?
Alex Hansen.
Fake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting 7, huh?
Yeah.
All right, 2 trivia questions.
Okay.
Who did Rich Swann face in his first televised NXT match?
No Way Jose.
Baron Corbin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what fellow cruiserweight from the Cruiserweight Classic was one of Swann's trainers?
Okay, the obvious answer, but I'm not sure it's going to be that from the Cruiserweight Classic. Oh, Tajiri.
No.
Was it Brian Kendrick?
Nope. Drew Gulak.
Really?
He was one of his trainers, yes.
How long has he been around?
I guess long enough to train
Long
people.
enough, huh? Wow. Interesting. Man. Wow. So I got 7.
Yeah.
I didn't get the Baron Corbin question. That makes me mad.
You're up 4.
I'm up 4, but then you still have to get 4 to tie me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's easy enough. Well, I'll bring the heat next week.
You better.
George Hackenschmidt versus Frank Gotch.
I think you already did that one.
Invader 1 versus Invader 3.
Okay.
Do your research.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Anyways, we want to say thank you to everybody out there once again for hitting that subscribe button, a download button, and watching us on the YouTubes.
Yes.
And, of course, thank you to our lovely patrons out there, including Alfredo Salvador.
We still have a bonus episode.
And we got a bonus episode to do, too, as well. Yeah, my goodness gracious. Anyways, I want to say thanks to everybody, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.